but we also know that Jellicent has been lurking in these recent Gardevoird decks. We saw a Bonds list and phase one, and at the show open. But getting right down to the table, Bradley Kirchhoff kicking things off with Monkey Dory in the active, and an Earthen Vessel, discarding a Psychic Energy and searching the deck for 2 more energy to go. I love the addition of Earthen Vessels in this list. Players have been increasing their counts recently, trying to get as much energy in the discard pile as quickly as possible. Austin Ellis, meanwhile, with Fan Rotom in play, is going to have immediate access to Fan Call and really get this deck up and running.
Bradley starting with his ace-spec in hand. It
Ooh.
always feels super broken when you start Secret Box in your hand. I know Bradley, like I was wondering why he was putting some of the cards at the front of his deck, like the Technical Machine Evolution and an S-Ball, and that's because, yeah, we have access to that Secret Box immediately, and that's going to give him a very powerful setup. He's going to be able to get 2 Ralts on the bench thanks to Nestball and Artisan. He's going to be able to guarantee a supporter for his next turn, as we see the discard of 2 Psychics and Pheasantipity. Now, he can't use Technical Machine Evolution right now, of course, and he will not be able to have a guaranteed energy next turn. He'll have to hope to draw 1 off of Research if he intends to use it with his active Monkey Dory. But I think the trade-off is definitely good, and the other cards in his hand were quite essential overall in needing, in pulling through with this. And he has the Darkness Energy to go with it as well, so he's basically guaranteed a turn to Gardevoird EX at this point in time.
Has already set up the deck for the initial deck search, searching for the Earthen Vessels, prepping for the Ace Spec, prepping to grab off of the Artisan all in one go, and then is going to shuffle the deck thereafter.
Yeah, turn 1 Secret Box almost feels too good. I think when Secret Box came out, not too many people other than Henry Chow really paid attention to it. And now Secret Box is all over the place, and it's like the ace spec for Gardevoird and many other decks. Even we've seen it being tried in Golden Go decks as well, instead of Energy Search Pro, which is crazy to think about.
And now that we're over to Austin Ellis' side, this is an interesting conundrum. With Fan Call, you know that you're just going to get the Hoot Hoots, there's no threat of Noctowl, and Austin Ellis actually only has 1 copy of Iono in the deck. So that means that there's a chance that Bradley, even grabbing all those things off the Secret Box, is very confident that these cards are going to remain in the hand. Typically, when it comes to these disruptive supporters, you don't want to play them early on when you're playing these Flareon lists, these Noctowl lists. You need to keep all of your resources in the hand, and that's more of a late game, just comeback potential. If you are behind, if you need to buy yourself just a little bit more time, maybe after benching a Hoot Hoot to get that extra turn to evolve it into Noctowl, play that Iono, maybe set your opponent down to 2 or 1 card.
Yeah, a well-timed Iono can be the difference between winning or losing a game, and since we only have access to 1 copy, that's going to be very crucial, Adam. Now, we have another almost picture-perfect start here for Austin. We had the in-hand Cyrano to search for 3 Pokemon EXs. We have the Area Zero Underdepths to go along with that search for Artisan with the Eevee. We have the Free Treat with the Latias. We have the triple Hoot Hoot, and we have the Sob. So what a turn 1. I don't think you can ask for better. And the fact that there was no Noctowl searched for probably indicates that there's already a Noctowl, or at the very least an Ultra Ball, in the hand. Now, if it was an Ultra Ball and Austin is caught off guard by like a 20 damage, by an item lock from Frillish, that could be a problem. However, he did use Sob, and that means the Monkey Dory in the active spot will not be retreating this turn.
And that is a perfect outcome that Austin is willing to take, right? Even though you're putting damage on the Monkey Dory, the Adrenal Range is going to put it right back on your side. Lowering the chances of Frillish being able to take away your use of items is what Austin is trying to play around. A full spread of cards on the other side, right? With Wellspring Ogerpon now in the active with an energy attached, threatening potentially a Torrential Pump next turn. 3 Hoot Hoots to back all this up, and 2 Eevees. Now, don't get too ahead of yourselves, folks, right? When you're looking at the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, you're looking over at Bradley's side of the board like, oh, there's no Shaman. This is going to be a great Torrential Pump. You have to be careful, because if you're shuffling the energies back in the deck, maybe you aren't getting energies established for your Flareons or other attackers after the Wellspring Ogerpon. Your best bet is maybe to try to take down 2 Curlias, right? But Bradley knows I just have TM Evo, and then I can just evolve right into the Gardevoird EX now. So I don't even know if Torrential Pump is going to be the best option here.
Yeah, denying a Ralts when there's already a Gardevoird in play, not that big a deal. Even the active Pokemon, because Adrenal Brain was 0 lives, has 110 HP, so you're not even KOing the active, so you need a combination of like an Energy, a Boss's Orders, and a Sparkling Crystal to even get the maximum value of Torrential Pump here. So picture perfect start basically for both decks, but in this situation, I do think Gardevoird has an advantage. One of the big issues for Eevee, the Eevee's deck, is the fact that 310 HP of this Gardevoird is a little out of reach, right? Flareon EX has no way to increase the damage output that I can see in this list. You have to like hope they attack with Gardevoird EX, and there's some residual damage from Psychic Embrace or something to be able to take a knockout with Carnelian's 280 damage. So it's gonna be very tough. But we are seeing that Jewel Seeker for the Boss's Orders and the Sparkling Crystal. So we are going to see a 2-price knockout. I think it's either the Ralts plus the Frillish, or the Frillish plus the Monkey Dory with the Darkness Energy. And yep, those are the choices right here.
Yeah, but Boss's orders bring that up. It's a beautiful play, trying to get not only the item lock out of the equation, but the tool lock also matters, right? Turning off the Sparkling Crystal, making so you can't attach Air Balloon or something like that that's in the deck. And even though Austin Ellis has to go a little bit out on a limb, this is still a Pokemon in the active spot that needs to be dealt with. Bradley Curcio promotes Gardevoird EX, still has access to Psychic Embrace, of course. If there's another Darkness Energy for Monkey Dory, can move that damage over and take the knockout with Miracle Force here to keep up with this prize race.
Bradley definitely in a lot of trouble here. His Fizz is in the discard pile, so he won't be able to draw any extra cards with his current hand right now. There's no supporters at the moment. We do have Mew EX being searched for, so I guess that's our best hope at this point in time. The Screamtail also hit the discard pile off of that Ultra Ball, so a lot of Pokemon going down. I think we might end up attacking with Gardevoird EX here in this situation, which leaves it a little vulnerable to the potential Cornelian. However, because the Sparkling Crystal is here, there's no way to get 3 energies on a Flareon EX in a single go. And Bradley definitely knows this. He'll know what he's up against. He'll know what sort of possibilities Austin has. So yeah, we're in for a treat. And oh, okay, the Clefairy EX actually. I think the Clefairy EX will be able to do enough damage to take down this Ogerpon thanks to the Area Zero Underdepths, increasing the bench size.
Now, Lily's Clefairy EX, folks, because of its Fairy Zone ability to make Dragon Pokemon weak to Psychic, we often forget that if there's a full bench, it has that beautiful Full Moon Rondo attack. You can just punch something if you'd like, and brings up EVEX besides. Going to take 2 damage here, and I love this as well, right? Because the EV is going to be the next attacker. The EVEX is still worth 2 prizes, has 200 HP, it's an easy knockout. You already know Wellspring Ogerpon is not really going to be a threat. With Sparkling Crystal, it can sob for free, but that's just giving you free damage to send back with Monkey Dory. You are now forcing Austin Ellis to evolve this EV on the bench and just try to pull off a Burning Charge. Hopefully there's a Crisp in there to get the Burning Charge at least, to get a little bit of chip damage and distribute some energy elsewhere.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, I don't think there's a way to 1-KO this Clefairy back. Even with its measly 190 HP, there's nothing that can hit hard enough to take it down. We don't even need the Bravery Charm that we just searched for at this moment. So yeah, things are looking actually very good for Bradley, and he found an Arven off of that restart draw from Mew, being able to find more Darkness Energy for his Monkey Dory on the bench, send even more damage, and perhaps take an extra prize card on this Rotom that is already damaged. And if you sneak a couple extra prize cards that way, all of a sudden you don't need to KO 3 Pokemon EXs, you just need to KO 2, and you get a few extra resources down the line with that.
With all of the Noctowls on the bench, having to bench the Latias EX, these are a lot of vulnerable Pokemon that give up prizes easily, and Bradley, as long as the stabilization happens, will be able to have his pick of which Pokemon he wants to knock out.
All right, seems like it's going to be Gardevoird, the Pokemon of choice, to take down this EVEX. It's not going to be Clefairy, being extra cautious, make sure that there's no way the Clefairy EX goes down in this upcoming turn. Another thing Bradley knows is that Austin probably doesn't play a counter to his own Area Zero, right? Or there might be a copy
of Gravity
Mountain. Okay, so maybe Bradley doesn't know exactly that. The odds of that being available to lower the bench size to make Clefairy less of a threat might not necessarily be there. And I think even if both players have 5 Pokemon on their bench, Clefairy gets up to 220 damage, I do believe. And that's enough to take down a lot of the basic EXs. So Clefairy actually being very key, despite not for the weakness part, adding to Psychic weakness to Dragon-type Pokemon, but because that Full Moon Rondo attack actually does a lot of damage too.
And this is sort of the conundrum of the matchup we're seeing on full display here. You want to go for an early Torrential Pump, you assign your Sparkling Crystal, but you don't yet have Flareon down, you don't have an additional attacker to take over after Wellspring has done its initial duty, use that Torrential Pump and shuffled energy back into the deck. Thankfully, Austin still has a Terra Pokemon in play, can keep using Jewel Seeker. Going to need to find a Crispin here, and we see Terra Orb already being played, looking for Flareon, has to evolve up this Eevee and try to get a different attack. I don't know if Austin Ellis, or if it's even worth to bring up this Monkey Dory or the Ralts, just so that Burning Charge takes a prize. It might be better to just do a significant chunk of damage to the Gardevoird EX in the active spot.
We're going to see the Crispin be found by the Jewel Seeker. We're going to see a Nestball probably grabbing that Terrapagos, but Terrapagos is not going to do enough damage to that Gardevoird to take a knockout. And if we play Crispin at him, we are not playing Boss's orders, and we are tight in prizes. So Counter Catcher is available in the list, but it's not active right now. So best we can hope for is an attack into the Gardevoird, and hope we can finish it off at some point, perhaps with Torrential Pump later down the line.
Mew EX onto the bench, and Crispin searching the deck for 2 energies of different types. One goes to a Pokemon directly, the other one goes in the hand. And the shorthand, of course, is essentially both are going to go onto one Pokemon. But Austin Ellis kind of going on a different path. Attaching both to Wellspring Ogerpon. This does unlock Torrential Pump once more because the Sparkling Crystal remains. Latias EX can retreat from the active for free due to its own Skyliner ability, and another Torrential Pump will go through.
Now, I see Austin has access to Iron Bundle, but there's no bench space for it, I don't think. We're just going to see a torrential pump for 100 damage to the active that is currently missing and 120 damage to the benched Ralts. To need that damage onto the active, though, it's not just a snipe damage to the bench. So the active Gardevoird should have 130 damage on it.
Yeah, they'll definitely get around to that eventually. After the turn is resolving, probably just making sure that I see Bradley just making sure that the energies are being shuffled back in, and there's the damage assigned to Gardevoird.
Yeah, I think Bradley had Rare Candy, Gardevoird, either he top decked one of the two cards right now, but now that Ralts is gone, that Gardevoird, if it gets taken down, it could be a little problematic. So I have to assume now we're going to see that Clefairy be the attacker of choice. That way, if Gardevoird goes down, you still have a Clefairy powered up to potentially take one of your last prize cards.
Yeah, it is always unfortunate to have these awkward spots. The Eevee did not even evolve into a Flareon here. So there is a world where, once again, this Wellspring Ogerpon isn't able to just keep taking prizes now that there's a lot more HP in play on the bench on Bradley's side. And when you're continuously having to use Crispin to make up this, I want to say tempo loss, essentially, of not being able to attach additional energies with Burning Charge, losing the energies you have in play due to Torrential Pump's effect. And when you're playing Crispin, you can't play Boss. And if Bradley can consistently put something in the active with enough HP that's not going to get knocked out by Burning Charge or Torrential Pump, the prize mapping becomes incredibly awkward. Austin Ellis is at 3 prize cards remaining. Even if Gardevoird goes down, it's still going to take a couple turns potentially to find another knockout, something strong enough to even threaten the Clefairy or the Mew EX on bench.
Oof, this is a tough spot for sure for Bradley. There was no target for that Artisan. There was no Ralts left over, no Frillish, no Monkey Dories even. Does have a nice stretcher to get back a Pokemon. Or there might have been one target, I think. Okay, there is a Frillish left. Okay. So, can fill up the bench, can take a knockout with Clefairy. I don't know if you want to risk the knockout with Gardevoird. Now, by playing the Artisan down as well, Austin was able to discard that previously damaged Rotom. Therefore, that's no longer like an easier option to take a knockout somewhere down the line. So I don't know how, like as Bradley, how do you approach this? If you attack with Gardevoird, it's definitely risky. You did discard some of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You will be knocking out the only Terra available as well, making it harder to Jewel Seeker next turn for your opponent. But do you do it with Clefairy, the lower HP Pokemon that could get return KO'd by Terrapagos? And if, well, there's no way to Briar and Crispin in the same turn, because the Sparkling Crystal is not available, so we can't take 3 prizes in a single turn. There is a copy of Briar in Austin's deck.
I actually, I think I like your line, Pablo, of just attacking with the Clefairy, forcing Austin to find that line. With no Terra Pokemon in play, it's very difficult to properly retaliate. And even if Austin takes 2 prize cards, you're on 1 prize remaining. I think that gives you plenty of time to just bring up Latias or Mew EX as your final 2 prizes. Bradley Curcio sees it here. He's going to assign 2 Lily's Clefairy EX. And with the benches filled up the way they are, plus a little bit of help from Adrena Brain, that is perfect math.
Yeah, Full Moon Rondo doing 200 damage with the Adrena Brain, moving that 20 off means you have a fully healed Clefairy EX in the active spot. Hitting for 190 is not easy for Austin. He's going to need an Area Zero, a Crispin, a Terrapagos EX, and 2 more benched Pokemon. So it's going to be a little tough here to pull that off. Not impossible. I do think I saw a Nest Ball in the hand, and that can give you the Terrapagos, but if you don't have a Noctowl, then you're in trouble. And if you Nest Ball for Fezandipity to draw 3 extra cards, all of a sudden you need to evolve the Eevee in order to have a Terra Pokemon available for you. Otherwise, Jewel Seeker doesn't work. So,
oh my goodness, I think that is Austin really gonna have to go for that flip the script and hit Flareon or Leafeon if it's that bad.
He has draw with Mew. I see he has a Nest Ball. He has the is that
Fan Rotom and Gravity Mountain? Yes.
Oh, okay. So Gravity Mountain is not a good card to have here. Yeah, it's gonna be Fez into Mew. We know that a Flareon and a Leafeon were discarded previously right there. He chose not to evolve the Eevee when he had the possibility, so that might end up costing him. And that's part of why Brad KO'd the EVX. That's a Terra Pokemon as well, right? So by KOing that EVX over the Sparkling Crystal attached Ogerpon, made it so that he limited the potential damage from Austin and also eliminated that possibility. Now, 1 card off the top with Restart. Couldn't tell what that was, but now this Fezandipity item has to be the best Fezandipity in the history of Fezandipities.
Okay, let's see it, folks. 3 cards off the top. Needs a Flareon,
Briar,
Crispin,
and
just another energy.
Energy, all right. That means, I mean, I don't think we can even attack this turn. There's just nothing we can do. We can't draw any more cards. We can Crispin, but there's no attacker that we actually have. And Bradley's just going to have a free turn at this point in time where he's able to pressure, he's able to heal his Gardevoird EX further. He's able to, I mean, if he gets a second Monkey Dory, he could just KO the 50 HP EVX and KO the active Mew EX as well, or KO the active whatever is in front of him.
Absolutely. This boosted evolution Eevee has low HP, but it makes up that detriment by being able to evolve immediately while in the active spot. Austin Ellis has left this vulnerability on the bench, is forced to retreat into the Hoot Hoot. The Pheasantipity did not come up.
We have the Monkey Dirty, we're missing the Dark Energy, and then we can Adrenabrain twice to KO the Eevee and attack the active for game. So Bradley just needs to find the Darkness Energy at this point in time.
We just saw one left in the deck, I think, through the search.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an Earthen Vessel, maybe some way to grab it.
There's an Ultra Ball. We're going to thin that last Ralts remaining. We have Earthen Vessel available. I mean, a Night Stretcher would also do it because you can just retreat this Dark Energy from the Clefairy, pay that retreat cost, and then get back the Dark Energy, go into the Gardevoird, and he has a Research, and his deck is looking pretty small at this point in time. There's a Research. Let's see if we hit the Darkness Energy for game.
Darkness Energy or Night Stretcher takes out the Eevee and sets up the 2-prize knockout.
I think we saw the Night Stretcher. Maybe not. No, there's
it's a Counter
Super Rod.
Catcher.
Yeah, Super Rod and Counter Catcher. No Darkness Energy for Brad. So we will not be able to close out this game at this point in time. Now, I have to wonder, do you just pass here as Bradley? Do you choose not to take a knockout? I mean, I don't think Eevee decks would have a way to take a 3-prize turn, especially not with the current board. So I think
it's specifically with Briar, right?
I
that was
love
around
this.
last turn.
Yeah, Briar, but then if Bradley takes a prize, then he's no longer at 2 prizes, so Briar wouldn't work. But this, just like, okay, blocking you from the item cards. You can't play Night Stretcher. You can't play Ultra Ball. I know your hand's not very good.
Yeah, you have to take a knockout with a Terra Pokemon, and that means that you'd have to play Crispin to power up this potential Flareon.
Exactly.
It's not even a Flareon in play.
If the energy was on Eevee, perhaps it would be a possibility. Then you can evolve, attach Briar. No, that's not. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, Burning Charge doesn't do enough damage.
You take you take 2 prizes, and you still need 1 more. So, but the item block here is like, okay, I don't need to take a knockout. I don't need to be aggressive. Your bench is full. I know you don't have Area 0. The TM Devolution is not going to matter whatsoever here anymore. So I'm just going to Oceanic Gloom, 20 damage. It's a stronger Itchy Pollen, and we're good to go. Yeah? I win next turn.
And Austin Ellis, unfortunately, had to lean very heavily on Wellspring Mask, Ogerpon, wasn't able to accelerate enough energies into play, have these Flareons as backup attackers. Has not shown the Gravity Mountain yet this game, which is very important. If Bradley hasn't sniffed this out yet, it is such a key tech card to lower the HP of Gardevoird EX, maybe get that knockout down the road here in Game 2 or Game 3. But Austin Ellis has certainly, hopefully, really played this matchup before and has learned a lot about this game and is hopefully can make these adjustments and re-approach the Gardevoird matchup the way it needs to be done. Taking out the Frillish early, I think, was correct, but taking that other turn of not evolving the Eevee, discarding the Flareon EX, it just ended up not being enough, and the prophecy came true of once you get to that later stage of the game, the Flareon struggles to put the pieces together and keep up that pressure. Yeah,
we saw Austin get very far ahead in the early game, right? Applying a lot of pressure with that Wellspring Ogerpon, taking those double knockouts on the Sparkling Crystal, playing the boss's orders to take down the resources that Bradley had. But as the game went on, Bradley's deck got stronger. Austin's, just like he had no energy on board, he lacked the Terra Pokemon. I do think not evolving that Eevee is probably something that he would have liked to do. I mean, Leafeon has merit in this matchup, so perhaps because he didn't know which one he wanted, Flareon or Leafeon EX, he held off on evolving to still keep the option open. But overall, Gardevoird can have a lot of control on how many energies they have in play in many situations. And since you can't Crispin and Boss at the same time, it's just really hard. Even if there's like 5 energy on a Screamtail, and you could possibly KO Gardevoird EX that has 10 damage on it by doing 300 damage thanks to 5 energy in play, realistically, you can't do that out of the blue. Especially, or you can only do it if Flareon EX has attacked a couple times and has gotten a few energies on the board, right? So maybe we need to, despite, like, if Wellspring's not going to deny the Gardevoird, then you might as well just go into the Flareon and have a much stronger board because you know the disruption is coming at some point.
If Bradley didn't get that TM Evo and have immediately the Kirlia into the Gardevoird, it would have been a much better start. But Bradley starting with Frillish in the active, this is going to make things very difficult. And Secret Box, once again, the most powerful Gardevoird EX start right now.
The raw Secret Box in back-to-back games when you're on stream. Like, that's some plot armor right there, Adam.
And I already know that Flareon EX is not as valued in the metagame because of this difficult Gardevoird matchup. But when you're playing against a Gardevoird player with plot armor, we're getting completely new territory here, Pablo.
Yeah, I mean, Gardevoird is just so strong, right? And then, like, the deck is built to have these strong starts, and we're just seeing Bradley get this back-to-back raw Secret Box, and, like, you generally can't ask for much more. And it's even stronger against decks such as Evolution, such as Raging Bolt, such as Golden Go, which play very little or no hand disruption whatsoever. So even though because like in a mirror match perhaps, or against Dragapult, there's a high chance your hand just gets Iono'd away, and you lose your TM Evo to the bottom of the deck, you lose your supporter, and you have to work with a new, fresh set of cards. But against these sort of decks, you just know you get to keep your cards, and you can plan exactly what you want to do next turn as well. So this is just looking very, very strong here for Bradley. Now, is there anything priced that could potentially hurt him? There's no Curious prize, there's no Gardevoir's prize, there aren't any rare candies priced either, so nothing stopping the Gardevoir EXs from hitting the board next turn.
Thankfully, Austin does manage to get this nest ball before the item lock comes through. It can grab Fan Rotom. It can use its Fan Call ability on the first turn of the game to search for 3 colorless Pokemon that have 100 HP or less. This covers your Hoot Hoots, your Noctowls, and your basic Eevee, right? This is the one with boosted evolution. There is a second Eevee in the deck, has an attack that also lets you search your deck, but I think Austin needs to be aggressive here. I love getting potentially, if the hand allows, the boosted evolution Eevee, grab a Latios, retreat into this Eevee. It can evolve immediately the turn it comes down. When it's in the active spot, get that Flareon. Potentially, there's so much to ask.
Yeah,
Is the Sparkling Crystal there? Get an attached return, get a Burning Charge, get some attack onto this Frillish.
The Sparkling Crystal is in their hand, actually. Could we see that? I mean, Austin didn't go for the boosted evolution Eevee. He went for the Colorful Friends one. So, but yeah, we're seeing an adaptation already. We're just not going to go for the Wellspring Ogerpon early. We don't have that opening, it seems. We are holding an Ultra Ball, which Austin knows that Bradley has the technical machine evolution in hand, and a research, but nothing guarantees that he's going to use it. If Austin doesn't play the Ultra Ball right now and commits to the evolution in hand, and Bradley gets a strong enough draw to where he can just Oceanic Gloom, or even finds the Jellicent EX and TM Evos with the Jellicent EX in the active, that could put a lot of trouble for Austin. Chooses to go for the Latias EX, so does he have a Terra Pokemon already in the hand?
I didn't quite get eyes on it. After Ultra Balling for the Latias, I thought that Austin would retreat the Hoot Hoot, maybe put Fan Rotom in the active, trying to preserve this Hoot Hoot to guarantee you have Noctowls for down the road. Just, if there's energy, maybe just threaten with the Assault Landing. Frillish with that 80 HP, however, you can't take that knockout, but Bradley's just off to the races here. Artisan and Professor's Research discarding that Devo to draw 7 more cards. Kirlia and Gardevoir now in the hand.
That's an awkward find, right? Because if you evolve into the Kirlia, you want to, well, I guess you can still do it. There's no pieces prize, so you can get another Kirlia and a Gardevoir EX out. But I think the key card here is the fact that Bradley found that Jellicent EX. So he can TM Evo with an item lock happening on Austin. That's like the dream, right? That's combining Oceanic Gloom with the Technical Machine Evolution. So no items, no tool cards. Thankfully, Austin did play the Sparkling Crystal before this took place. You see the Artisan for the Monkey Dury, and now we're going to see the Technical Machine Evolution for Kirlia and for Gardevoir. Once again, picture perfect start, and it's all thanks to that secret box in hand. Now, okay, Austin does have a Cyrano in hand, so he can make something happen. He can get that Flareon out, and he can start powering up other Pokemon. But is there even anything to power up at this point? There isn't.
After Eevee evolves into Flareon, the only other thing that could potentially be powered up, you try to find that second Eevee EX, but that's a vulnerability on the bench, certainly with only 200 HP. I don't know if Austin is going to try to find Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. At this point, I feel like the time is past.
It's too late. Yeah, it's definitely too late. We have to try to go up in a more EX versus EX playthrough. But yeah, we have Noctowl, so we can search for Zero. We can find the Eevee EX. We can find the Flareon EX. We can power that up. But as you mentioned, the 200 HP is just so low overall, right? It's
if Flareon is evolved from the Eevee on the bench, right, and then energy is attached to Eevee EX, there is also a world where Austin uses a Crispin, has the Sparkling Crystal on Eevee, uses the Carnelian attack.
We just played Cyrano, though, so we cannot play Crispin.
Of course. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So now the just one step behind then with these energy attachments.
And Austin just made a huge mistake. He evolved into Noctowl before evolving into the Flareon that he just searched for. So Jewel Seeker doesn't work. And so now we don't get a Stadium. We don't get the VX down. We don't have anything in our hand. And yeah, at this point, I think even Brad told him, like, nope, sorry, you can't take it back.
Austin is breaking my heart. Okay, let they who have not accidentally evolved their Noctowl without having a Terra in play cast the first stone.
We have all done it. We have absolutely all done it. And it's really unfortunate to see here on the stream. I mean, when the stakes are so high, right, the pressure is definitely on these players at the table. They're both very close to top cutting as well with that 9-1-1 record. So it seems like the pressure might have gotten to Austin. And it's like you're planning so many things with your hand that having a slight misstep like this one ends up being extremely, extremely costly.
Yeah, that's such a massive miss sequence, unfortunately. It seems like just doing 2 actions, just one before the other. Generally, things like that don't even matter. Like, oh, evolving my Pokemon here and there. But absolutely devastating. Misses the attack here. Is still going to remain under item lock because of Oceanic Curse. Jellicent gets to attack in the active. And I guess the only silver lining is that Gardevoird does not run Gusts. generally speaking. So it's just going to be a hoot going down.
Wow, what a crazy turn of events. We see the Latias get put up in the active, and the card off the top is, I couldn't tell. No, I can't tell what it was. I know we have a Mew EX down. We have Gravity Mountain as well. We can Artisan, maybe for a little bit of help. Okay, we have the Iron Bundle. So Iron Bundle will allow Austin to play item cards, but does he even have any good item cards to play with at this point in time? Does he have an Ultra Ball for another Noctowl to compensate for what happened in the previous turn?
And this is putting Austin onto this very thorny path now, saying, okay, well, now I need to use Iron Bundle to get the Jellicent out of the active. You bring up a Monkey Dory. Austin can now use items, get this turn set up the way it needs to be. Burning Charge can finally take a knockout on Monkey Dory, accelerate some other energies into play, but now you're only taking one prize card. 18 minutes left on the clock, by the way, so a lot of game needs to be run back for Austin Ellis to remain in this one.
And we see the Ultra Ball discarding that EVX that we searched for, discarding the Gravity Mountain as well. This is definitely going to find a Noctowl, but is it a little too late? That one misstep that we had, evolving the Noctowl one step too early. I mean, sure, now we can search for Crispin, and I mean,
and this is one less Jewel Seeker you're going to have for the late game where it is of utmost importance.
Yep, one Hoot went down, another unfortunately evolved and did nothing, so now we're down to the one Noctowl, and this Noctowl, along with the Mew EX that's left over in the hand, basically has to carry Austin through the whole game against a fully set up Gardevoird deck. There's two Gardevoird EXs in play, there's a Monkey Dory already, and there's a Jellicent, making things even more annoying for Austin.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, you know, the Hoot could have just been retreated and just put Fan Rotom in the active, and you try to preserve that Jewel Seeker for later on in the game. Pheasantipity EX is grabbed, needs to see more cards off of Flip the Script. Now that you've used the Iron Bundle to get Jellicent out of the active, Oceanic Curse is not active right now. Use your items, use as many as you can. Try to get some sort of established base. The bench is currently full, has Area 0, pardon me. So now Mew EX is in play. Hopefully there's a second Eevee to come through and receive some energy from Burning Charge.
All right, we do find Fez here. So we have a plentiful hand, and we're not under item lock, so I think we definitely need to stretch her back the EVX and power up through Flareon EX's attack in order to get some energy onto the board. Now, seems like it's going to be Iron Bundle instead to continue to free us from the item lock. We have another Nest Ball, okay, so that can get the backup Eevee.
Okay.
There we have it. Now, the issue with this backup Eevee, though, is the fact that it has 50 HP, and then Austin reconsiders. 50 HP is like the perfect number for the double Monkey Dory, and even if the active goes down, which it probably will, finding another Monkey Dory is usually quite easy, right? So
yeah, Artisan, Night Stretcher.
Yeah, and if you commit energies to that, then it's even worse at that point in time. Oh, but...
And no energy attachment to actually to make the Burning Charge happen.
No, the Crispin was not played, so what was the supporter? I didn't notice a supporter being played. Okay, so we're going to be a bit more passive, which... with the time dwindling down, I think that plays really well for Brad overall. Like, he's under no pressure. There are a few energy. There is at least, I think, one energy in the discard pile. Air Zero does get countered, so Fan Rotom and the two Noctowls going away now and going back down to 5 benched.
Who actually decides to get rid of the Latias EX. Wants to preserve Mew, Wellspring, and Bundle. The Fan Rotom was in the active spot after all. But, yeah, just a really... devastating turn of events for Austin Ellis, missing that one Jewel Seeker. The window of opportunity to swing into Jellicent, get some momentum built up in this game is just completely gone. Austin just fighting on the back foot now, trying to make a plan happen, trying to get an attacker powered up, and the energy just isn't there. Whenever your opponent's forcing you to play other supporters that aren't Crispin, the deck loses all semblance of threat.
Now, the one key piece missing for Brad were like energy in the discard pile. He now has 2 Psychics in the discard pile. He can start getting some damage into play with Psychic Embrace. He can also do more damage now with Jellicent EX if he so wishes, and he can double Monkey Dory if he needs to. We could just see the Monkey Dory take the knockout onto this Fan Rotom. I don't think we will. I think we're definitely going to see the Jellicent EX take this KO, deny the items, and at the very least, force Austin to use the Iron Bundle if he wants to play any item cards next turn.
And also, we have to remember as well, Pablo, now that the Area 0 underdepths has been bumped, there is no room on the bench for a Hoot. So Austin Ellis is probably going to have to use the Iron Bundle to move the Jellicent and bench a Hoot. And if and when Flareon EX uses its Burning Charge attack to deal some chip damage or try to take a knockout, that accelerated energy just has to go to Wellspring, Mask, Ogre Pawn, I suppose. If you want another attacker, maybe it goes on to Pheasantipity if you want to go fancy with Cruel Arrow. But all the recipients of this potential energy have incredibly low HP.
All right, Wellspring got promoted.
But Latias EX was sent to the discard
instead
pile.
Of the Mew EX, which had for retreat. So, I mean, are we going to try a Sob strategy onto the Mew EX at this point in time.
If you have the energy attachment for Sob, I would rather just go for Burning Charge, I feel.
I mean, Austin has to be playing. I thought like he'd for sure just go for Carnelian to take a knockout on the Jellicent EX with the Crispin.
Yeah, that same play from earlier does come full circle.
Crispin, actually, he just threw the Crispin off of the Mew EX. So something I mean, he must have just not grabbed the Crispin that he originally had with the Jewel Seeker. I must have missed that. But yeah, we're going to go for the Sob, and we're going to take our time, right? And this definitely plays against Austin. Like, he's the one that needs to win this game, and 20 damage is just not going to cut it. Now, Bradley is put in a weird situation where he can power up the Mew in order to copy Torrential Pump, but then that's going to shuffle the energy back into the deck and therefore will not make them available for Gardevoird EX to attach to other Pokemon if the Mew goes down at some point, or could keep the Mew locked for even further. Although, he's not forced to do the 120 damage to the bench, right?
That
he
is
could just
true.
Torrential Pump 100, Torrential Pump 100, and call it a day. So we'll have to see how Bradley approaches this sort of like awkward lock, soft lock situation, if you will.
Yeah, I do love that you call that out as well, Pablo. The shuffling the energies back in the deck is optional for Torrential Pump to do bench damage. You can just use it as a standard attack to deal some chip to the active spot. Meanwhile, Bradley, after powering up the Mew, has 2 Monkey Dories with 2 Darkness Energies, can send that damage over to the boosted Evolution Eevee, the 50 HP on the bench to take another prize card if he so chooses, and it's all in Bradley's court. Do I even want to give my opponent the ability to draw cards off of Pheasantipity, or do I want to just move damage all around while my Mew is Sob locked and set up something really fancy?
Yeah, it seems like Bradley's just going to play the Sob lock game as well, and now there's 100 damage on this Wellspring Ogerpon, and if they Sob, then they can send the damage back, and then they can use Torrential Pump and take a 3-price turn onto these 2 guys. Or, actually, if you put enough damage, if you put 6 damage onto the Mew EX, you could actually take a 4-price turn copying your opponent's Torrential Pump as well.
And that would be a fantastic finale to this game. We know that Gardevoird is a great deck in the metagame, has a fantastic matchup versus this Flareon box. This is a deck that has a lot of utility, great against Golden Go and other decks in the format, but when you're up against the heavy hitters of the metagame, when you're in phase 2 of a regional like this, 9-1-1. Austin Ellis obviously has been doing things correctly throughout the day. Hard to say how many Gardevoird decks that they've hit so far, but Bradley's putting up a show right now, folks. Has the threat of Mew EX, has Jellicent, double Monkey Dory. I can't ask for a better Gardevoird EX board than what I'm seeing right now in front of me.
Yeah, you're going to Sob, I'm going to Sob. You're going to Sob, I'm going to Sob. And yeah, I mean, I think Bradley can win the game next turn. If he has enough, I think he might be 10 damage off actually from winning the game next turn. Double Monkey Dory would put 6 here, but if he does Torrential Pump, he's 10 damage off, so not quite there yet. And now the Leafeon EX threat is here, doing 60 damage for every energy in play that your opponent has. So now Leafeon EX is currently doing 360 damage. It's missing that second energy, and we actually can't retreat the Wellspring because it got sobbed against us. Right? So we have no way to move that just yet. So it might not come into play, but if you get Curlless against Leafeon EX, you can really get punished with that Verdant Storm attack, especially as a Gardevoird player. And
Austin does have 1 copy of Professor Turo's Scenario in this deck. Hoot Hoot is on the bench. It would feel a little bad if you needed to Jewel Seeker to grab that supporter, and I think you'd really love to save this Hoot Hoot for the finale. If Austin is somehow able to close out this game, make the comeback happen, the Hoot Hoot on the bench needs to be there for the final Jewel Seeker for the coup de grace.
All right, we do have access to a Professor Turo for Austin, so maybe he can save this Wellspring if it doesn't get KO'd. If Bradley just chooses to go for like a slower, okay, I'll just Sob you back, send the damage back once again, and set up for that game-winning play afterwards. He might not have enough energy actually to pull that off. Is he getting, I don't think there's any risk of getting decked out either, and he just wants to make sure like he doesn't get trapped or something completely. But yeah, I mean, the pressure's on Austin to try to finish this game and close it out, and he's still at 6 prizes remaining, which doesn't help his case.
And furthermore, with the Verdant Storm attack, you ideally want to combine that, maybe take down a Gardevoird, use that big burst of damage on something that really matters. And if you're leaving a Mew EX, then it's going to just copy the Verdant Storm and KO you right back.
Okay, we do have the Torrential Pump taking the knockout, taking a 3-price turn, going down to 1 prize card here for Bradley. Now this will give Austin a lot of extra cards with the Pheasantipity. Potentially Mew has the Iron Bundle, which he really prioritized this whole game, but he's down 6 prize cards. There's no damage on the board for Bradley. His Gravity Mountain is gone. And now, because Mew used Torrential Pump and shuffled the energy back, there's only 4 energy in play. Therefore, you're only doing 240 damage with Leafeon instead. Or I guess, yeah, you're right. There's 5 energy, actually. So that's 300 damage. That's still not enough to even KO a Gardevoird EX.
Not enough. And I think that earlier in the game as well, Austin Ellis was forced to discard that Gravity Mountain. So you can't reduce the HP of Gardevoird as well. Really unfortunate to lose that important damage modifier for this matchup. But finally, Leafeon EX enters the active spot, has 3 energies attached for Moss Agate, just 230 damage.
And you heal 60 damage, 100 damage, sorry, from all of your Pokemon. There was no damage to be healed. So sure, we take 2 prizes. We can't really KO this Leafeon EX at this point in time unless we get triple Monkey Dory off, but with the 3rd Darkness Energy on the Gardevoird, that's impossible. But if we just have Screamtail, Screamtail could just close out the game against this Mew EX quite easily. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see the Super Rod for the Screamtail. We're going to see the Artisan getting that back. I think once again, it might be the energies that's stopping Brad from winning this game. 3 just got shuffled to the deck. We will be able to use 3 to retreat.
Jellison is a big boy.
Yep, and there's the Screamtail. Do we have enough energy, though, to take a knockout? There's 4 and the 20 damage. Yep, onto the Mew EX from the Adrenabrain. 180 damage exactly to allow Brad to close out this round 12 game.
And Bradley Curcio takes the win completely unfazed. This was just another job that needed doing to him.
Another day in the office for Brad, just